Today I am so lucky to have my brother from another mother. He has served our country for over 20 years. He is a fierce MMA fighter and a spokesperson for mental health. He lives here in Utah with his beautiful wife and two beautiful children, Lehi Dominguez.
Hey, thank you for having me today.
So we have known each other for over 10 years, and I was so lucky to be able to make the introduction through my late husband, a man you call a brother.
Yes.
We've definitely gone through some things, you and I. We are so grateful for your military service. We're so grateful. I mean, I know there's a lot of division in the country right now, but the fact that you have been able to serve the country and live the life that you've lived, amazing. So tell us a little bit about your diverse military, because it's changed up over the years.
Yeah, no, it definitely has. So I joined at 18 years old. I joined right out of high school. So interesting story. I didn't drop out, but I stopped going to school, and then didn't know what I was going to do after high school. So we had a Navy recruiter come to our school in Arizona, and I just remember going to the mall one day, saw the same recruiter, didn't know anything about the military actually, even though I had a lot of family that had served.
Yeah.
And so just went into his office. I was like, hey, what do you guys do? What's this all about? And then 22 years later, two different branches of service, still here serving today.
So the military's been very foundational in making sure that you can get your life organized, right?
Yeah.
I've noticed that with my son. You've been integral in bringing him into the military. The one thing that I did notice is it allows you, because there's no snowflakes, there's no mommies in there saying, oh, let me wipe your, there's a lot of no's. So you develop a lot of tolerance, and you're with people that you're put together not by choice. You don't know who you're going to be in bunking with or in a platoon with. So those are things that you have to learn tolerance and acceptance and teamwork in spite of that.
Yeah. And I wouldn't say so much, well, tolerance is a good word, but I would say you develop a lot of resilience.
I love that.
Yeah, so the resilience, and I'm big on resilience. It's something that I'm actually certified. I went to a master resilience training in Wisconsin around the time that Josh passed, or after. And so resilience for me is just being able to just bounce back from any kind of adversity, stress, challenges, because you do have your soldiers looking up to you, and they're looking to you to lead you, or looking to you to lead them. And so for me, I like the resilience aspect of it, because especially with my story, it just shows anybody that no matter what you've gone through, and
no matter where you come.
Yeah, no matter where you come from, you can still push forward and
it doesn't matter how much life plows you down.
Yeah.
And it plows you down. That's relentless. So it is, resilience is required.
Yeah.
And we have to be able to dig down. So I love the segue, because I was just going to ask you about your posts, because, social media is so rife with division and keyboard warriors, and they are just out to get each other because they've been given this anonymity, or this false sense of anonymity, that they can say and do whatever they want. And most people are choosing not to put good out. They're mostly and even the ones that we've got, these influencers that are influencing for what? Influencing, are they putting out good content that would build us up? Yours is always good. What I love is that you want to see people rise up. All people, not just you. You're striving to rise up, but you want everyone to rise up too. And your messages are about a bigger plan and a higher power. How did that come about? Was it connected to this, or does this date back even further?
It dates back prior to after my first divorce, because where I could have easily, fallen through the cracks and, started drinking, doing all the other crazy stuff that you see people whenever they get divorced do.
To numb yourself.
Yeah, to numb the pain, right? And it was pretty interesting, because my daughter was about 1 at the time. And so that's whenever the message came clear to me, like, hey, I just want to become the best version of myself. Like, that's when the message became clear for me.
Right.
And part of becoming the best version of myself is, bringing light, bringing love to the world, and, being kind to others, because, in our experiences, like you said, where we've been beat down our entire life, and I'm like, you know what, I want to create a world where I feel happy to bring my kids up into, and so
Change the paradigm.
yeah. And so I was like, for me, that started with me, right? I was like, what kind of messages am I sharing? What am I doing when other people aren't around? And so,
But the truth is, it begins with all of us individually. We cannot battle this world and change it if we're not changing ourselves.
right.
Internally, we have to do that first and foremost. I love that. I love that. So, and we all battle. So tell me a little bit about, you are a mental health advocate, spokesperson. A lot of your posts incorporate that as well. What initiated that? I mean, we've talked a little bit about our childhoods, but what initiated that? And tell me a little bit about your own trauma, PTSD journey.
Okay. So with mental health, that started probably about 2-3 years ago. And for me, it's always been, for like my journey, it's always been like, okay, why do I believe the things I do? Why do I do the things that I do? So on and so forth. And there was just a lot of things that didn't really make sense. I'd go through these weird mood swings. Like, I'd wake up some days and nothing was wrong, and then I would just be in like these weird moods, and it always just threw me off. And so went through this really crazy trial 2-3 years ago. And so one of my commanders, he was like, hey, you should go to therapy. And I think, as men, especially, coming from a Hispanic background, it's always frowned upon, or people.
Oh yes, my
look
father's
at you,
Iranian, and we do not need anyone to help us.
Yeah. So it's always, well, just toughen up, right? Be a man. And so therapy, things like that are seen as weakness. But, I took his advice, and I was like, you know what, because from what he was telling me, he's like, you're just going to learn a lot more about yourself. And so I've been doing therapy for about 3 years now. And that's really where, I used to think I had ADHD, and I was like, oh, it's just my ADHD. I'm always forgetting things. And working with my therapist, she's been amazing. She was just like, no, that's anxiety, right?
Right.
And these were things where I'm like, I don't have anxiety. Like, I'm not anxious. But the more we started working together, it was just like, oh, right? And she would tell me the different symptoms or signs, and I was like, that makes a lot of sense of why I would do these things, right? And
Help you give yourself some more grace.
Right.
Understanding.
Yeah. And so the anxiety helped out. Like, I'm actually been off my anxiety meds about 6 months now. But the biggest hurdle for me, though, was the PTSD, because you always associate PTSD with going overseas, seeing combat. I've been to Iraq twice, but nothing combat related, and just things from like my childhood and other traumatic events that have happened in my life. So I was actually diagnosed complex PTSD, and that's where you've had multiple things in your life that have happened. So and learning about PTSD, that was big for me, because I used to self-isolate a lot.
Yeah.
And that was something that my therapist talked about, is like, you self-isolating, that's actually one of the most common symptoms of PTSD, where you retreat.
Right.
And I just thought, like, hey, guess I'm just a loner, right? Nobody likes me, this, that. But that was a big symptom.
I did the same thing. After Josh passed, I retreated. I started noticing that people were becoming too hostile, and I actually had a therapist tell me that I had PTSD, and I made that same connection, like, oh, I actually felt that I was being irreverent to my men and women in service. I was like, no, that's for people who've been blown up, that's for people, But I'd had an experience where my ex-husband came in the room, and I just needed to get out. I was like, oh, And so they said, no, that's PTSD. That's, and you just need to be able to address it. But right after, I sing the praises of therapy. You have to have the right therapist, though.
Right.
You've got to find, and I would warn people to definitely shop around if it doesn't feel right, if it doesn't feel like you're going the right direction. you need to have a little bit of introspection and a checklist of what it is that you want to have happen for your therapy, right?
Yeah.
And I landed after my 4th therapist, and I'd done therapy before. It was just, this was complicated grief and PTSD and trauma and all of this stuff. And I remember when I finally landed on someone who could help me. She does EMDR with me and helps me to be able to step out and take a look. I mean, there's just a lot of different modes of therapy.
Right.
So people, you do a little bit of research, make sure that you understand at least a framework for what you want before you go in. I love that so much.
But to answer, like, to go back to your original point, though, so the reason I'm such a big advocate for men's mental health is I don't remember the statistics off my head, but anywhere from 60 to 100 men commit suicide every single day, and it's from men's mental health, and it's from the stigma that, oh, men don't share their feelings, right? You know, we're men, we don't talk about those things. And
Well, it doesn't help that there's a whole bunch of people saying that that masculinity is toxic, which it's not. Ladies, masculinity is beautiful. So
yeah, so I feel like that's a part of me being the best version of myself is, you know, sharing my message with the world, sharing my story, and letting people know, like, especially men, like, hey, therapy's great. You know, talking about your feelings, there's nothing wrong with that. That, you know, just like my wife will say, that's what makes you strong, not weak. And, you know, just sharing more about my anxiety, my PTSD. I battled depression, but that wasn't as much. And just sharing that message with others because, you know, especially coming from 22 years of military service.
yeah,
I've been an MMA fighter for 15 years. So people see, you know, people like myself as, oh, you're toughest of the toughest of the toughest. And it's like, no, like I still bleed like everybody else, right? I still have feelings, emotions, and
right.
you
This
know.
is a skill set. This
Yeah.
isn't my emotions. This isn't my person. This is a skill set.
Right.
That's very different,
Yeah.
right? So tell us about this MMA. I stress about your MMA. Actually, I stress out a lot. And you're going to tell everybody why I stress out, but tell me about your MMA. What was the catalyst that brought you into MMA?
So MMA originally for me was just a bucket list. It was something where I was like, hey, I always grew up watching boxing, and you know, I just thought it was amazing watching Oscar de la Hoya back in the day.
Yeah.
And so, but I joined the military before I started training, and whenever I switched over to the Army, we have what's called combatives, which is like jiu-jitsu. And so for me, really though, it was just learning self-defense because I was bullied a lot in pretty much all the way from elementary. And so I learned how to be tough by having a big mouth.
Right.
But it was a false sense of security, right? So MMA with the structure, it just brought so much more confidence to my life. And, you know, not that I was going for fights, but it was just like, hey, I know how to defend myself.
But you do. Tell us about the most gruesome one.
Fights?
Yeah.
Oh, I broke my foot?
Ah! You
No,
didn't just break your foot. You broke, everything was laying the wrong direction.
Yeah. No, it's funny. Everyone, well, not funny, but everyone's like freaking out and I'm smiling, laughing with the paramedics. But no, MMA for me, honestly, like people see it as like, oh, you're being machista or whatever they want to call it. But for me, it's a spiritual journey. Like when I train, it's like I have to be on point, you know, spiritually, mentally, emotionally.
Right.
Because if you take anything else with you into the cage, like that's when you get hurt, right?
Exactly.
Especially when people fight angry. Like I don't think I've ever fought angry, right? It's more of a mental battle for me. So, just for me, MMA is it's about overcoming just mental hurdles, right?
For sure.
You know, especially
There's
my
so
last
much
one.
discipline.
Bare knuckle, people like,
Oh, yeah.
people told me I was crazy. I heard it all. They're like, why are you doing this? And I'm like, it's a challenge, right?
Yeah.
If you're not challenging yourself in life, you're not growing.
In all of your MMA and everything, all of your military service, did you have any mentors that helped you or that you looked to in making those decisions to participate in both of those?
With MMA, not so much as mentors, but I've had a lot of great coaches. Shane Stoneman, you know, he's pretty much helped me, I guess, can't think of the word, but he's the one that's helped me evolve in the game. And so for me, my favorite martial art form, if you will, is boxing, and that comes from Shane. So you know,
I love
he's
it.
me and him have been through so much, and he's always been someone that I've looked to whenever I train. In military and life, my biggest mentor, his name is Lee Johnson, and he's a retired master sergeant. I met him in recruiting, and when everybody counted me out, he was the one that was like, "Hey, you know, let me get to know this guy." And so,
I met him, and he continues to show up. For
yeah, no, I love Lee, and he's done so much for me. He's just, even to this day, like, if I'm going through anything military related, anything life related, he's the first one I call, and
Yeah.
he's always had the greatest advice. So.
Coming back to you and I and our discussions about our childhood and all of that. So if you could go back, because they talk about the 6-year-old self. So 6-year-old self, by the time that we are 6, we have a worldview. We understand, at least in our minds, how things work, what reactions we're going to get, and we model ourselves off of that as an adult. So our 6-year-old self has a lot of impact on our adult self. So if you could go back and talk to your 6-year-old self, what would you say? What would you do in that scenario? Would you change anything?
That's a great question. I think overall I would just tell him it's going to be okay, you know, because he saw and went through so many things that a lot of kids shouldn't go through, and I think I would just give him a big hug and be like, I know it's hard, but you know, it's going to be okay. Like, you'll get through it.
Yeah.
And I think that's helped me throughout every phase of my life, you know, my inner child, my young adult self, just telling them like, hey, I know it's not fair, like the things you've gone through, but it's going to be okay. Like, you'll get through it.
Right. The pain does subside a little bit. Josh would say, one day at a time.
Yeah.
One day at a time. Right. Just keep that door open for the light. So, in wrapping this up, I mean, it's been amazing just chit-chatting about all this stuff, but in wrapping this up, this is my favorite. We talked about this. If you could leave, it's your last day on Earth, very last, you're exiting the game, and you can leave 3 truths. What would they be and why?
So number one, and I think my truths just revolve around how I've gone through my journey. Like, everyone's going to have their own truth based off of what's happened to them in life. Number one is tell your family you love them every single day. Like, life is extremely short. And so just the people you love, whether it's by blood or not, just tell them how much you love them and spend as much time as you can with them, right? Because those are the people that are going to support you and lift you up when, you know, you think you have all these friends, all this support system, and
all these family.
Yeah.
That's a distinction. Yeah. That is a distinction. We choose the people that we love.
Yeah.
We choose them. And we can love people and they won't love us back sometimes, but the ones who do, we got to hold those tight. We cannot let those go.
Yeah. Number 2 is don't waste time. Like, and I know we see this all the time, but for me, you know, a lot of people see money as their most valuable asset, or, oh, I need money to be successful. But for me, it's like, you only have a short, limited amount of time. Like, don't waste it. Whatever dreams, goals, whatever you want to do in life, just go do it. Like, stop waiting for someone to go with you. You know, stop waiting for the perfect time. Like, whatever you want to do, just go after it. Right? Make the most of this journey, because it's short, it's beautiful, but it's limited, right? And number 3 for me is just, I would say, again, just going back to just become the best version of yourself, right? I know we've talked about that, but for me, you know, at the end of this life, it's not about what I've accumulated, or, you know, it's not about what's in my bank account. It's like, what kind of person did I become, right?
Who did I influence?
Who did I influence? Who did I impact? Whose life did I change? So for me, in order to do all those things, it's becoming the very best version of myself. So that's why a lot of people are afraid of change.
Right.
And I'm constantly evolving,
We
constantly.
do not like change,
Right.
no.
So yeah, just become the best version of yourself, because that's how you're going to help the most people. Like that's how you're going to help your family. That's how you're going to help those around you, is by becoming the best version of yourself.
See, and I love that, because there is a worldview that is self-care, self. Becoming the best version of yourself, you said, how you can help your family, how you can help people, how you're looking out as, I want to improve myself to improve the world, not so that I can get the accolades, get the whatever, but because that is how we change the world for good, is becoming a better, more loving, more kind, self.
Yeah, because when it's my time, and hopefully I'm able to be on a hospital bed and count down the days or the hours, I just want to be able to look back and be like, you know what? I led an amazing life, right? I was able to help so many people and be a positive influence in the world. I was able to share love and light, and just be that light, in so much chaos right now. Like you said, so much division.
So much.
And for me, it's like, those are the things that are important to me. And that's the example that I want to be for my daughters.
Right.
It's just like, hey, your father was strong, but he was also gentle, and, he shared love with the world.
And he showed up. How important is it to have a support system when you're going through grief?
No, it's key, honestly. So my brother passed away last year, committed suicide. It's been almost a year now. And that was one of the hardest times of my life. Having my wife there, like, I'm not sure where my path would have went without her, right? Without my family. I was trying to numb the pain. Having those key people that are there for you, it's everything, right? And
It is.
I think just allowing those people to be there for you, and I learned that, from being there with you and through Josh's passing. And it's different when you're going through it, because you don't want anybody around. And my wife, like, having her there, like, she was my biggest support system. Without her, like, I think it would have gone a lot worse before it got better. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It is a different situation. I feel the same. I was grateful for the people who stepped up, because there was a lot that stepped away. You and I are chosen family, and I am so grateful for that. Looking forward to watching you become even more. The fighting makes me nervous, but anyway, thank you.
Love you, sister. Thanks for having me.
I love you too. And to all of you out there, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast daily, and we will see you next time.